Hey there. You might, like most people, undervalue the impact of taking your own advice. And to put this in perspective for you, I want to share a little story of a potential client I was talking with last night and some of the things he came up with on his own. And as we go through this, I'll guide you through a few practices you could use to start to take that advice for yourself as well. Now, I was talking with this guy, and he was in kind of a rough spot. He's going through bouts of depression. He feels like he's procrastinating. He's dealing with all sorts of resistance. It's showing up in his body as well. He's dealing with hip pain, back pain, all of this. And he's at the point where he realizes something has to change. He feels physically stuck. He feels emotionally stuck. He feels financially stuck. And he realized that doing more of what he's been doing and doing what he's been doing harder isn't the solution. And so I asked him, we got pretty clear on what the problem was that he was dealing with. And I asked him, what do you want things to look like instead? And he painted this totally beautiful vision of a movement bringing education and awareness to using movement and time in nature to help children who are dealing with the consequences of autism or mental health challenges, or just to find an alternative to the medicalization of these children. Because the way he puts it, these kids can be such a contribution, and they can heal the world if we help them heal as well. And so he explored all of this, and he wrote all of this out. And I asked him, okay, that's phenomenal. Now, when you think about this, who do you need to be? Or what do you need to do in order to bring that vision to life, in order to make that movement happen, in order to be the leader that kind of movement is going to need? And what he came up with was pretty beautiful. And I wrote them down as he said them. I'll read them off for you here. He said, I need to own my own story. I need to be more focused. I need to be more grounded in my own life. I need to be kind toward myself. I need to take small steps. And I need to trust my own abilities. Now, let those things sink in. Does that ring a bell at all? You think you might be able to benefit from that too? Probably, right? I know as soon as he said them, I thought, check, 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 check. That's what we need, right? And that's kind of the beauty of this coaching practice is I don't need to have the answers. What I find over and over again is that when people are given the appropriate context, they come up with their own answers for themselves. And it's a much more organic process. It's a much more congruent process. It's a much more honest process, right? Now, these can sound like good slogans, and so what I'd love to do is help you kind of anchor these ideas into a couple of embodied practices as well for yourself. So let's look at owning your own story. What does that look like? What's obvious about you? That's a question I come back to again and again with my clients that I work with is find a couple of people in your life, people that you trust, people that have your best interests in mind, and ask them, what's obvious about me? And just see what they come up with. You might be surprised. Of course, there might be some good and there might be some bad, so it's important to keep in mind whatever you come up with, and have a little compassion for yourself along the way. So what's obvious about you? And then as you jot those things down, what's it like to see those in front of you? What's it like to have someone tell you these things? What kind of physical sensations come up as you hear those things? You might be surprised. Now, that next one, be more focused. It's really important, if you want to be more focused, to know what's worth focusing on. So think about how you spend your time day after day after day. What are the things you do with yourself day after day? And to get a little objectivity in this situation, an exercise I often guide clients through is imagine you have a little bird on the windowsill who's looking in at you every single day. And that bird isn't judgmental, but that bird is honest, and he sees everything going on. So what does that bird see you do day after day? What does that bird see you do in the mornings? Are you rushed and frantically scrambling around? Are you moving slowly, able to take your time? Are you constantly filling every spare minute with something to do? Or do you have a little time just to be still? Whatever the case may be. What does that bird see you do? Where does that bird see you doing it? And with whom? And also, what are the kinds of qualities that you bring to those different activities? Each of those questions can be very insightful in terms of helping you get a little better sense of where it is that you put your energy and attention and focus day after day. So when you see that list in front of you, then you can ask, well, okay, which of these things are moving me in the direction I want to go? Which of these are helping me become the person that I want to be? And which are getting in the way? Or which are pulling me in a different direction? If you want to be more focused, you need to bring your attention to what you've been giving your attention to again and again and again. And I know that seems kind of circular, right? But the things that we pay attention to change within our bodies, within our overall context. If you can bring attention to these things will shift. So if you want to change what you focus on, you have to know what it is that you're focusing on now. So let's look at the next one. Being more grounded in your life. That's going to look like different things to different people. So to help you find a little better sense of what that might feel like, imagine for a moment how you would carry yourself, how you would sit and how you would stand, how you would talk to people if you were grounded. If you had nothing to prove, if you had no armor to wear, if you had no role to play, if you were very grounded in your own experience, how would that physically show up? What does a grounded person look like in your mind's eye? And you might even think of a couple of examples of people that you know who are particularly grounded. And you might think about, well, okay, what qualities about them, what attributes make them seem so grounded? And what would that look like if I just borrowed that for myself? Whenever we're embodying a new trait, it's kind of like just trying on a new hat, right? Maybe it fits well, maybe it needs some adjusting. Maybe you put it on and say like, that's not me at all. Why did I think I could pull that off? Whatever the case may be, we can go through this with a little bit of patience, right? So if you think of grounding in your own life, as he did as well, what does that look like physically? Can you put yourself in that stance? For me, just as an example, grounding feels like getting very finely attuned to my sense of weight. And when I do that, when I pay attention to where I'm in contact with the floor and where I feel that support underneath me, everything else falls into place pretty easily. So that's one way you might be more grounded within your own life. What was next on this list? Being kind toward yourself. That's a good one, right? What's something nice that you could do for yourself? Another way you might think of this is, how would you treat yourself if you genuinely wanted the best for yourself? What would you give to yourself? Not as a quick fix, not because you deserve it, not because of, oh, this or oh, that, or because you've got this whole backstory. If you genuinely wanted your future to look really good, the best possible future you could envision for yourself, what would you give yourself now that would lead to that? Would you give yourself a little more credit for where you've been and what you've done? Would you book that bodywork session you've been putting off for however long? Would you, take a walk, give yourself a break? Would you buy yourself something nice just because you want something nice? I've got this beautiful desk that I'm actually recording this on. And when I bought it, I was like, I'm gonna spend $500 on a desk? Ugh, but it's gorgeous. Every time I sit down to work here, it's like, this is the kind of space that I wanna work. Yeah, and so buying this as kind of a gift for myself was a bit of an investment too, because it means that every time I sit down to get work done, I'm in a more beautiful environment, a more nourishing environment. It's one way that you might be more kind to yourself, giving yourself the context that you need in order to thrive. So, what else? Taking small steps. That was a big one for him. He painted this huge vision of a movement he wants to bring to the world. And of course, that's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a month. Maybe it'll happen in a year. We never know. But if you want to take a journey like that, you know the old maxim, right? Like it begins with the small single step. So I asked him, what is the smallest possible step you could take in order to get there? And he said, well, I could do, I could work on it 1 day a week. And I thought, a day a week, a full day, that's a pretty damn big, small step, right? I don't know about you, but if you've got a full day each week to give to something, that's a big commitment. So I asked him, okay, that's a good start. Is there a way to dial that back even a little bit more? And he said, well, I could do, an hour a day, maybe. And I said, okay, that's maybe a more manageable chunk. I don't know. I don't know if an hour a day is more manageable or not. But is there something even before that? Is there a preemptive step that makes even giving an hour a day more manageable? And he said, well, I could go and actually get a planner and plan this sort of thing out. I've never done that before. I always think about it, but I've never done it. It's like, okay, that's a good step. Now, be honest with yourself. Is that a small enough step that you could actually take it? And are you willing to take that next step? Those are two important distinctions. Is it something you could do? And is it something you're willing to do? And he thought about it and he said, yeah, I can do that. Okay. And so then we did a little check, right? Now, if you take that small step, is that going to move you in the direction of bringing this vision to life? Is it anchored to something, to some vision we have in the future? He said, yeah, it is. Okay, well, that's a pretty good step then, in that case. Now, the last one, trust your own abilities. This looks like different things to different people too, because each of us has different abilities. Each of us has a different backstory, different skills, different qualities. The thing that I always fall back to on this, and that we worked through a bit, and maybe you've seen this video that I shared before, is we can so often get caught up with the gaps, the things that are missing, the deficiencies, the dysfunctions, the things we're bad at, right? And we never really see the things on either side of the gap. We never really let ourselves shift our perspective that way, kind of flip our view of things upside down. So instead of asking why you aren't where you want to be, instead of asking what's missing here, instead of asking why are things so bad off, flip that. Ask, why are things not worse off? Why don't I have all of this? Okay. What do I have? Write a resource list. Come up with anything you can think of. Give yourself a brain dump and actually put that on a piece of paper in front of you. Just seeing that externalization of the resources that you already have is going to set the wheels in motion in pretty powerful ways. Believe me. So, it's one way, maybe to trust your own abilities. But as I said at the very beginning, that's his advice for his life that came from his own organic intelligence. What's yours? When you look at the context that you're in and the challenges that you're up against, who do you need to be? And what do you need to do in order to move past those? What does that look like? Now, I'll say it's far easier to come up with our own advice when we've got the appropriate context. So if this is something you'd like support with, I'll go ahead and I'll put a link down below or to the side or wherever to my calendar, my scheduler. And what you can do when you click there is book a time to talk. We'll set aside 45 minutes to an hour where we'll really dig in and help you come up with your own best advice, because that's what coaching is all about. It's not about finding some external solution. It's about leveraging your own strengths more effectively, bringing awareness to the things you already have going for you, and using those to make the change that you want to make. So this is a free session. I do this partly because I find it enjoyable, partly because you might find it so useful that you want to continue on as a client. If so, we can talk about whether or not it's a good fit and what that looks like moving forward. And if not, that's fine too. Either way, this will be a phenomenal opportunity for you to get clarity on what you're up against and clarity on what resources you have already in order to move past it, in order to make massive strides forward. So again, I'll put the link down below or to the side. If the link doesn't show up for some reason, just go to chandlerstevens.com/apply. And again, you'll see a calendar there. There should be a button. You can open up a calendar of my availability and just pick a time that works best for you. Let's really see what you can do when you start to take your own advice.